Hello everyone and welcome back to Thoughts, Feelings, Emotions Presents the big one. On today's episode, Marvel. We're gonna be ranking Marvel movies.
Yay!
Because this is the 10th episode of TBO.
Is it?
Pretty sure. I may be counting wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're up to 10.
Ah, cool.
Well, since we split it at least. Anyway, starting with the first of the Marvel movies. Man, it's Iron.
That was just dumb.
Well, I'm glad to have you on board, Dan. Anyway. Iron Man 1, or just Iron Man, because it was the first. The one that kicked it off. 10.
And just to let you know, we're doing the same thing we did before. We've got a spreadsheet up for the rankings. It's going to be out of 10, but with decimal points, because the system doesn't work for answers that are the same.
10.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a 10 straight away. I should have just filled it in straight away.
10. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a 10.
It's not a 10.
It is.
It's not
it
a
is
10.
It's the best Marvel movie.
So
ever.
Iron Man. Summarize Iron Man. I might as well.
Okay. Man, cave, rich, doesn't die in a cave, comes out of cave, builds suit, doesn't build a suit for evil, builds a suit for good. Bad guy, bald, has a beard, Jeff Bridges,
Correct.
Tony Stark. Party, weapons, Iron Man suit. Beats up other man in Iron Man suit. Big explosion, and kisses the girl.
That
No,
has to
doesn't kiss the
be.
girl. Doesn't kiss the girl.
That has to be
They're
one of
not
the
in a
worst summarizations I think I've ever heard in my life.
No, that's one of the best. Gives
That
you
was
all the plot
terrible.
points. Gives you all the plot. No, it's basically Iron Man is a rich douchebag billionaire who gets stuck in a cave because he gets kidnapped. Turns out that the person's kidnapping him is the Ten Rings. The Ten Rings are hired by Jeff Bridges' Obadiah Stane. Obadiah Stane puts the hit out on Tony because he wants to take control of Tony's company because Tony was the rightful heir and Obadiah was there before Tony and is jealous and douchebag and hates Iron Man. Then Tony gets out of the cave by building an Iron Man suit with the help of a man called Yinsen, and then he does a lot of partying and shooting up and building Iron Man suits, and then shoots down a terrorist organization. Then gets back. Obadiah Stane takes his arc reactor out of his chest, puts in a big old Iron Man suit that is based off the original design of Iron Man, and then they fight.
manga.
I know.
Just saying.
And then, congratulations.
I know things.
And then,
I drink
and
and know
then
things.
you wanted me to do this. You said my other explanation was shit. And then big battle on the roof, and then boom, end of the movie, and he reveals he's Iron Man with the classic line, "I am Iron Man," replicated in Endgame. Boom.
Okay.
Glad we recapped that movie. It's a 10.
I don't think I'm going to give it a 10. I'm not as much in love with this film as you are.
Blasphemy. It's a 10.
I think it actually was the first Marvel film I saw. I'm pretty sure.
See, I watched Iron Man 2 before I watched Iron Man.
Psycho.
I'm happy. Well, it was the only one that was on TV at the time was Iron Man 2, and then Iron Man came out after on TV, and I was like, why is this the way it came out?
Fair enough.
And then I've watched it a billion times since.
I think I give it
10.
a 7.
Nope, you give it a 10.
No, I'm giving it a 7.
We're giving it a 10.
I'm giving it a 7.
10.
7.
There, it's 10 out of 10.
7.
10.
I will compromise and go 7.1.
You will go 7.10. 10, 10, 10.
It's
10,
7.
It's a 10.
Shut up. It's 7. Right, moving on.
Well, I'm going to give your favourite a 0.
Why?
Anyway, moving on to Hulk. Dan, do you want to summarise the Hulk?
Thanks for that one. Appreciate it. Hey, for those who don't know, I have never seen the Hulk.
So, what's your explanation of the Hulk? Based on nothing and not watching it.
Man tries to replicate the Captain America serum.
Mm-hmm.
You thinks the secret ingredient is gamma radiation,
Okay.
and it turns him
You're
into.
basing this off of Avengers.
I am fully basing this off Avengers. And then he injects it into himself, and then he turns into a enormous green monster who can't control his rage.
Mm-hmm.
Then
You're doing well.
some other things happen in between the film. Another guy tries to copy the Hulk serum, and he turns into Abomination.
Yep.
Then Hulk versus Abomination at the end, and then
Well, you pretty much nailed the movie. What do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a nothing. It's not a 0, just a nothing.
So an unranked.
I'm giving it an unranked.
I'll give it a pretty average. It's a 5. It's not the worst, Like it's pretty just average. I don't think any Marvel movies are going to score like below a 5, but I think it's pretty much a 5.
Fair enough.
Iron Man 2, the
Yeah,
rushed.
I'm not a fan of Iron Man 2. We didn't mind it so much the first time I saw it, but
No, I really enjoyed it the first time. Like I said, it was the first one I watched, and that made me go back and watch the first one.
I meant
And
the other way
then-
around. I enjoyed it more the first time, and then I didn't enjoy it much after. My
Yeah, I
bad.
know. That's what I said. I watched the first.
Yeah.
I watched the second one first, then I went and watched the first one again. Well, for the first time, and then I enjoyed that one a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, to basically sum up Iron Man 2. He's dying because of his arc reactor, because he's getting poisoned by it. He's trying to find a solution. He's reckless and goes back to drinking, or continues drinking and gets really dark into his drinking. Then he goes to Monaco and goes in a car race, gets attacked by a man called Whiplash, whose dad died, who thought Tony Stark's father was a douchebag, and also created the arc reactor prototype potentially, or he stole it from
Howard
Tony
Stark.
Stark.
Yeah.
Dad. And then he whips a bit, and then Tony Stark is on lockdown. Nick Fury shows up, gives him a suitcase with a bunch of his dad's stuff. Then Coulson's introduced again. Then you get the fact that Natasha Romanoff is in it, Black Widow. You get the bit where he goes to Pepper Potts' office, and she has a bunch of housing plaque things, and he realizes that that's the key to fixing his iron arc reactor. And then Justin Hammer's there in the background stealing War Machine's armor because Rhodey took Iron Man's suit when he was at a party drunk, and he pees in a suit. And then he has a great old time shooting big old robots at a convention.
To summarize it, he's trying to set up the Avengers.
Yeah.
Now, that is more or less the purpose of the film. As well
It
as,
was a
trying
rush
to
job.
do a bunch of other things, but yeah, it's not. Like I said, it's rushed. It's not a
It's
fine,
rushed.
nice film, probably,
It
really.
went into production like immediately after Iron Man, after the success. They didn't really want to do it that fast, but they needed to get it out before Avengers. But yeah, I give it a 6.
I'm not going to give it a 6. I'll probably give it a 4.
I'm giving it a
Me.
6 because it's a pretty good. You're giving it worse than.
No,
4.
I'm
Can
not
you
going to
only
give it a
even watch-
4. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5.
You should really drop Hulk to a 1 if you haven't seen it, because that's really going to throw off the statistics.
Well, no, because how the statistics work takes an average of both our scores. So if I give it a
Yeah.
0, it means it's 2.5.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't say it's 2.5.
Whatever. Anyway, 4. Dan, summarize 4.
Blonde-haired man is angry, and he is a bit of a douchebag. And he likes
keep
to
going.
be a rebel, and he at some point he's he's a bit of a trouble man. He's got bleached eyebrows as well. And then he goes to the blue frost giant guys, and then that's bad. And then Odin rescues him, stranded him on Earth, meets up with Jane Foster, does a bit of la di da di da.
Does he have a brother?
He has a brother Loki who's found out he's adopted, and then he gets a bit pissy. Then he sends his destroyer to Earth. Destroyer to Earth tries to destroy Earth.
He likes coffee.
Thor likes coffee, throws a coffee mug on the ground. Thor realizes, I'm a really bad person. I tried to sacrifice myself, and then just got his powers back and destroyed the destroyer.
Introduction to Darcy, who's in WandaVision. Spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, is that it? It's a pretty forgettable film, to be honest.
I liked it though. It's not a bad one.
I'm
pretty-
not a big fan of the first Thor. I'm one of the weird people who actually prefer the second
Save
one
it.
to the first one. Okay.
Save it. Save your opinions on that till we get there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the first Thor, really.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like it. I'm probably gonna give it like a 5.5 or something like that, just because it's pretty average. It's maybe slightly above average. It's not the best. It's not the worst.
I'm going to give it a 5.1.
There's some fun scenes in it. It introduces Loki, one of the better villains of MCU. And he actually gives him like backstory, and it's like, hey, look at that.
That is
It's interesting.
That's not what I meant to do. 5.1. So Thor ends up on a total score of 5.3.
Right, Captain America, the First Avenger.
Ooh, the first prequel
Um,
of this franchise.
Well, not really.
Yeah, it is. First prequel of the franchise.
I mean, technically, but it's more of just a set piece.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's not like a. I guess maybe, I don't know. Technically, if you're doing it in order of actual, no, technically, yeah, it is the first. Whatever. I was gonna say Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel was set in the 90s or 80s. It's 90s or 80s? 90s.
80s.
It's blockbuster. 90s, isn't it?
I do not know.
Dan, Google it whilst I talk about Captain America. Captain America, the First Avenger. He's a skinny boy, has a friend called Bucky. They want to join the army, but
90s.
Sick Boy can't. Thank you. Sick Boy can't get into the army. Then he meets a German doctor who says, "I can give you steroids, and if you take them, you'll be big bad baby boy." And then he likes shields. He has a hot girlfriend. Army training, jumps on a grenade. Talks to a man with a red face or a skull. Ooh. And then
So stupid.
and then he what else does he do? He goes to an army camp to break out Best Friend, who got captured because Best Friend got into the army before he did. And he's also an American symbol because he's just a gimmick at this point. He's not an actual soldier. Then he punches some people, and then he crashes a plane into the ocean in some cold.
I'll say once again, it's quite a forgettable film.
No, it's pretty good. I think I like Haley Atwell. It's got some fun moments. It's not the best. It's probably about the same as the first four, maybe slightly better. I'd probably say like a 5.9 or something like that.
Yeah, it definitely is better than first Thor.
It's not
Moments
great.
I like Hydra in general, or I liked it more than in here when it started off. I like the fact it has to do with Nazis. I don't know why.
I like the fact that they tied it into 4 by having the like Tesseract be like tied into Greek mythology, no, Norse mythology.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get comments for that.
Yeah, it has some good moments in it, but I would still say the story's a bit flat. It's not like I don't think
It's
it's the
kind of
best.
inspiring, but it's not. It's not great. It's not worse, but it's not terrible.
I'm gonna give it a 5.4.
Right. Yes. So we've gone from the first Avenger to the first Avengers movie.
Woohoo! So now that we've recapped the most forgettable films,
10. Iron Man. 10. Not forgettable. 10.
no. What about Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America?
Yeah. But
Those are the
you're
most forgettable
including
ones.
Iron Man. There's
Alright.
some other ones.
So, what are your favourite
Well,
moments of Avengers, if you have any?
Anything involving Iron Man, because his introduction where he just is building his tower and it's beautiful, and then when he gets introduced because he goes away, and then his introduction again where he just plays his music and he just hacks the Quinjet, just shoots the shit out of Loki, plays music through his speakers again. Then when he fights Thor, Captain America, then when he does the turbines, when he calls Captain America nothing but a lab result thing, and then he goes, "I am a billionaire, genius, playboy, philanthropist." The moment where he goes inside the whale thing, the moment where he does pretty much anything. Dan, what are your favourite moments?
Well, I quite like the comedy in this film, or I liked it when it first came out anyway. I feel like this film hasn't aged well, particularly. I think
I went back and watched it again recently. It's not I still don't. I never liked it as much as everyone seems to love it. Like, this is the one that I think is going to cause the most controversy. I do not love this movie. I love moments in this movie. I do not love this movie.
I quite like the movie. It's my first ever team up film. I do quite like it. But like I said, I think
Team America World Police.
I think it's got worse over time.
I think it still stands pretty average to where it was when it came out. At least for me. because when I first watched it, I didn't watch it in a big cinema. I watched it on a TV at
Yeah, I
home.
was the same. But when I first watched it, because that was well, I watched Iron Man, and then I watched Avengers, and that's the first kind of big film I've ever seen. Like before that, the biggest thing I watched was Dark Knight, right? A Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So to me, when I first watched it, it blew my mind. But then coming back when I was older, to when I wasn't like 13 years old, it was like maybe the comedy wasn't as funny as I thought it was originally, and maybe the story wasn't as interesting as I thought it was originally.
Also, the director is now controversial, so you know
It's very,
it's watching it through rose-colored spectacles, and then you go, ooh, and you take them off, and you go, ooh, look at that person behind the camera.
but saying that,
Ooh,
I
another
think
good
I
person.
do still prefer it to Iron Man.
Nope,
Your
not
opinion-
even slightly.
Shut
I like
up.
the Iron Man moments, but I do not like it more than Iron Man. I will not go back and watch the Avengers continuously. I will go back and watch Iron Man continuously.
I won't go back and watch any Marvel film continuously. Apart from
I will
one.
watch some of them. Well, you need to watch the first Hulk to be able to go back and watch it continuously, to be able to form an
I
opinion.
think I'm gonna give it a 8.2.
I'm going to give it a 6. Actually, no, I'll give it a 7. I don't think it's the best movie. I'm going to give it a 7. Because I think it's above average. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's pretty standard across the board. And it does a good job of introducing everyone. It does a lot of balancing, and I like it, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah. Moving on, Iron Man 3.
Love it. It's a controversial one, but I love it.
I'm not. I don't
First
hate
one I
it as
saw
much
in
as
cinemas.
everyone else.
First one I saw in cinemas, and I enjoyed it immensely.
I know a
'Cause I
lot
was-
of other people hate this film.
They only hate it really because of the twist with the Mandarin. Because
Yeah.
they're like, and I'm like, you can't bring that character sort of without it being sort of racist. I know they're doing it in Shang-Chi later on in the year,
Yeah.
but they also set it up so that it was kind of a because there's a one shot where it turns out that he's not the Mandarin. There's an actual Mandarin who's pissed that he's pretending to be the Mandarin.
right.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah, they did a bunch of one shots where they just had like stuff to tie up continuity, and
Yeah,
then they
yeah.
don't do them anymore, like in the DVD extras and stuff. And so at the end of, I think for the Dark World, they had like a one shot or one of them where he's in prison, Justin Hammer's there, and it's like, oh, he's pissed at you, and then it's meant to be like a mysterious figure, is like the Mandarin because he's pretending to be the Mandarin.
Ah,
know.
fair enough. Yeah, I think there's a few good moments in this film, but I think I just didn't enjoy it that much. I love the music in this film.
Yeah.
I love the Iron Man riff.
I like Shane Black's some of Shane Black's movies. He does good movies, and I thought I just wanted to see more Iron Man suits, and I got loads of Iron Man suits, and they beat the shit out of some people. And I mean, I'm very easily pleased. My scores don't really reflect that, but I am very easy to please.
You're a simple man.
Yeah, I mean, I like the comedy. I like a lot of the moments in it. I think it's a good continuation of the Avengers, where he's got post-traumatic stress, and he's just like freaking the fuck out because he's seen the end of the world basically.
Yeah.
And then it's the through line between every other like Avengers movie where he is just dead set on trying. It's the spark that basically makes him a neurotic nightmare for everyone else, and I love it. Because it's basically a thread line through every other Avengers film. It's the thread line through Age of Ultron. That's why he creates Ultron. It's why he tries to build a suit of armor around the world. And it's just I love that's the spark that basically ignited that neuroticness in him.
So what score do you want to give it?
I'm gonna give it 8.5 because I do enjoy it. I don't love it as much as the first one, but I really do enjoy it. It's one of those ones I do go back and watch. Just because it's it's set at Christmas, and it's just it's just fun. I just enjoy it.
I think I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Dan, tell us about the next 4 movie.
Thor: The Dark World. I actually didn't realize this one didn't come out in 2014. I thought it came out. I thought it came out in 2014, but it came out in 2013. Apparently.
Well, yeah, it came out at the same time as Iron Man. Iron Man and the Hulk released in the same year. Iron Man 2, 4, and Captain America. Iron Man and 4. No, Iron Man came out
Then Thor.
2009. Then
Thor's
Captain
Man.
America.
No, 2010
4
it was.
4. Oh, well, Iron Man 2 or 4?
Iron Man 2 was 2010.
Yeah. Wait, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. That
Oh, yeah,
Thor came out the same year.
because Iron Man, no, Hulk and Iron Man was the longest point between Marvel movies
Yeah.
because it was
Or
a year.
was.
Well, it was, and then this is why we're doing it because Black Widow's been. We're gonna get this out before Black Widow, so we don't have to include Black Widow because that may get pushed and pushed and pushed. But yeah, so Iron Man 2008, Hulk 2008, Iron Man 2 2010, Captain America 4 were 2011, Avengers was 2012, Iron Man 3 was 2013, 4 was 2013, The Dark World, Captain America and the Guardians of the Galaxy were 2014, Age of Ultron and Ant-Man were 2015, Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange and Guardians were Doctor Strange and Captain America Civil War were 2016, Guardians, Spider-Man and Thor Ragnarok 2017, Black Panther Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp were 2019, Captain Marvel, Endgame and Spider-Man were 2019. Whatever.
Yeah, say Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man, whatever. Like I said,
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Infinity War, and Black Panther 2018.
yeah, it's 2019.
Oh, did I? Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. Anyway, for the Dark World.
I was like, yeah, we're going to get back onto this, or we should keep
do
listening.
you know how much we don't want to talk about this?
Yeah, it's another not a great
Controversial
film.
one?
There's
I could not. I can only tell you that there's a scene where Loki gets his arm, chops off Thor's arm, but it's a trick.
Yeah,
And the end credit scene where Loki's on the throne.
there's a lot of problems with this film. There's a few good, enjoyable moments.
The villain sucks.
The villain sucks.
It's your favorite Doctor Who.
No, he doesn't.
I don't know which one's your favorite, but
Matt Smith.
it's one of the Doctor Who's. Oh, really? David Tennant. Fuck you. You're wrong.
Well, I mean, the most common is either Matt Smith or David Tennant.
No, it's just David Tennant. No one
You're
says
wrong.
Matt Smith.
They do.
No one says Matt Smith.
They do.
It's David Tennant.
And some people even say Jodie Whittaker. Not us.
Whatever. I don't care. Anyway, for the Dark World, talk about it.
Okay, so it sets up another Infinity Stone. I think this is the third Infinity Stone that gets set up.
The
With the-
ether, which is the reality.
Yeah.
The red one.
It's able to alter reality, funny enough. Pretty good
Jane
guess.
Foster gets it all up inside her.
Yeah, it's killing her. They take her back to Asgard. Malekith.
Ooh, do you reckon they'll tie this into her getting cancer? Because in the comics she gets cancer, and that's why she becomes Thor in the comics. And then they're doing Lady Thor in the new movie for Thor.
Maybe.
I don't know. That just popped into my head.
Could be. Very possibly, because it was killing her, so maybe that'll happen.
On set, whatever. You know, it ignited. You never know.
I think Endgame redeemed this film a little bit.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
apart
not
from
really.
It's not a great film, really.
It made Natalie Portman never want to do another Marvel movie until she got a lead role.
Yeah, I mean, also Taika as well.
Yeah. And she just wants to be Lady Thor, which I gave her credit for. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So it's did a bit of setting up a little bit. Some of the fights, end fight scene had some good moments, I suppose. But overall,
I don't really remember. It's just a bunch of portals, isn't it?
yeah, I say this is another one of quite a forgettable Marvel film. It's probably the last forgettable Marvel film to go through, I think.
I like Chris O'Dowd's character as Natalie Portman's.
Oh
sort of-
yeah, the intern.
Yeah. No.
That's her boyfriend, wasn't it? Or going to be they're going to date
well,
with her.
it's potential boyfriend because she's getting over 4, and then 4 turns back up, and she's all over 4 again. You know.
Yeah.
And Chris O'Dowd's just there going, "Oh, okay. Well, that was fun."
So what score?
I
do you
can't
give it?
compete with Chris Hemsworth. I'm gonna give it I'll give it a 4.5. I mean, it's.
Do I think it's better
bad.
than Iron Man 2? I do think it's better than Iron Man 2, but not by much. 4.6.
Really?
Funny enough, it did not make much difference. Let's go.
Well, Dan,
So
you
next
want to
one.
talk about this one?
This is my favorite film of Marvel, and I know a lot of people don't love it as much as me.
No, a lot of people love it. This is like
No, but
people,
not
this
as
top-
much. People don't use rate as the highest.
No, a lot of people do.
I
I
think,
don't.
I think this is the most complete Marvel film for story. I think the story in this film has got like enough depth to it, and I don't actually see this film as a superhero film.
It's a spy film.
Besides
No,
the fact, one you got Bucky with a metal arm, and
I do like that though. Bucky is great in it. I'll give you that.
well, the amazing thing is this film's called The Winter Soldier. It doesn't actually focus on the Winter Soldier at all. Like that's not the main character point of the story. He is a side plot of this film.
Yeah, it's the name because people can recognize the name from the comics and go.
Yeah,
They just use the names of the comics so that they can make comic book nerds jizz them in their panties, and you know, they don't intend to actually like Age of Ultron. He's there for what, a couple days? It's not an age. It's just him. It wouldn't be as interesting to call it Ultron and the couple days he takes over. You know, or Captain America Civil. They fight in an airport war. You know, not as interesting a title, Dan.
yeah.
But
Wait, to summarize
Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
To summarize this quickly, it starts off with Cap on a mission to save hostages. Then Natasha gets some data
On a boat.
on
And
a
he
boat.
jumps out of an plane without a parachute.
That does happen. It's a cool moment. It goes back to Fury. They found out that there's something inside of Shield lurking. Later on, it's revealed it's Hydra inside Shield. Toby Jones' character, I don't remember his name. He became a supercomputer and was able to predict the future. And then they were launching Project Insight, which are these massive.
Oh, Arlem Zola, you meant.
It's not Zola, is it?
Arlem Zola.
I always get confused between two of them.
Arlem Zola is the computer.
Yeah, it's Arlem Zola, yeah.
And then
And then,
Agent Pierce or whatever it is the other bad guy.
yeah. And then the whole plot is that they're going to release this helicarriers that are going to kill thousands of people at a time. And they're able to predict everyone who's a threat to Hydra and kill them. So, and they first time they mentioned Stephen Strange as well, which is a nice little reference tonight. And
Yeah, that one always confused me because it's set before he's got Doctor Strange powers. So,
well, that's the whole point.
Are they just scared of the fact that he's a doctor?
No, it's the algorithm. They predict. They know the future.
No, I don't think it predicts the future.
No,
I think
it predicts people's future actions. Like,
Uh,
so the Zola algorithm, they knew everything to do with Shield. That's how they've been functioning. They know everything. They know exactly who's going to be a threat to them, and they knew that Stephen Strange was going to become Doctor Strange. Well, he was already Doctor, but they knew that was going to happen. So if they killed him before it happened,
yeah.
because if you think about the story of how Doctor Strange got his powers, he was like Iron Man in a way, kind of self-obsessed, and then he went in a car accident and damaged his hands. It was quite a normal injury.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that Hydra knew about the Ancient One and all the powers about that. And then
there's
they
a
knew.
very simple explanation for all of this. Doctor Strange was a dickhead to Arlem Zola, and he just hates him. That's the only reason. That's the simplified version, Dan. Not they can predict the future. Just Doctor Strange was a dickhead and they wanted him dead.
Even though
Because Doctor Strange refused to put Arlem Zola back in a body. There we go. Solved it.
I think I'm going to give it a 9.5.
I do like the moment where it's revealed that Senator Stern is Hydra, and he goes and whispers in that dude's ear, "Hail Hydra," and it confirms all of the stuff about Iron Man 1 and 2 where he's a dickhead to Iron Man. Because he's like, boom. I'm going to give it... it's got Black Widow's worst hair. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Next ranking, we're going to rank based on Captain America's hair.
Captain America's? No,
Damn it! It's been a long week, all right?
Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow's worst hair. Natasha Romanoff's
Right.
worst hair. So I'm giving it a 6.
Next one up.
I don't love it. It's not the best.
Next one up. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Enjoyable.
Very
Really
enjoyable. Got a good. I like a lot of the humor in this film.
Yeah. Got a tree. Got a raccoon.
I think Groot's the best character in this film.
No, I like Rocket. Rocket's great. It's a little raccoon who's just a psychopath voiced by Bradley Cooper. I love it.
Yeah, but he kind of annoyed me in the second one, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, well, that's not the movie we're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, the first one, very good film, really.
Yeah, no one expected it to do anything, and then it kind of just became its own thing, and everyone loved it.
Yeah, it turned the Guardians into household names, and they weren't even C-list characters, I don't think.
Well, every character who we've talked about has been not a serious. That Marvel just turned them into A-listers. They were all like B, C, D list when they first were. Like Sony passed up the opportunity to buy all of these because they were like the only one that's going to sell is Spider-Man. Look at how well that turned out. It's the same thing with Fox. Fox only bought the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and Daredevil and stuff like that because they tied it. They only bought Daredevil and stuff because it was tied in with the others. So
and they were like, "Oh, it's going to sell." Then turns out to make good names, you just need to make good films.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah.
Anyway, they're all under Marvel now except for Spider-Man, who they'll never give up because it makes them too much money.
Yeah, it's the only thing making them money, really.
Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy.
The tangents. I don't think there's much else to say about it. It's just kind of a good time film.
Yeah, it's basically their version of a Star Wars film, but with Marvel.
I think I might give it an 8.3.
I'm going to give it an 8.
That's not right, what I did right there.
Do.
Right, moving on.
More controversy, because this one seems to be very divisive. Age of Ultron.
Yes, it is.
The follow-up to The Avengers. For me, one of the best films in the catalogue. Also, best cinematic experience because I went and saw it in an empty theater. Because I went at like the middle of the day on a school day when everyone was at work and everyone was meant to be at school. And I just went, watched it, and it was an empty theater, and it was the best experience I've ever had.
I think this film has aged quite well with time. I think it's got better.
It's got some great moments. The Hulkbuster fight. Best fight in the entire cinematic universe.
Debatable.
No, best.
Debatable.
Name a better one.
Off my top of my head.
Name a better fight sequence apart from Hulk and Iron Man.
I'm trying to think of another film. I can't remember the films. Hang on.
Dan, you have all of them in front of you.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember what they all are.
You can't.
I forgot that one until you reminded me. I like the Infinity War fight scene.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, I'll say Infinity War was the best one.
No. Iron Man versus Hulk best.
I also like Doctor Strange as well. The very last battle. The time
it's
loop.
not a fight sequence.
He's getting hit a lot. Oh, yeah, he might as well be.
Whatever. Got great moments.
Age of Ultron.
Great before. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I was continuing, and then you cut me.
It's been a long week.
Anyway, great fights. Introduces the Scarlet Witch with WandaVision and Quicksilver.
I would have loved to see the original cut of this film.
Yeah, it did get chopped up a bit because they wanted it. Also, it's very similar to the first one, but it does.
It is a blueprint for the most part of the first one.
Yeah, but I enjoy it a lot more than the first one because I just like it. It's one I go back to. It's the one that it's got some dumb, stupid stuff where Thor goes to a pool, but I don't care that much because it's like whatever. It introduces the Vision. It's got the moment where he lifts up the hammer. They have that little thing where they were having the get together and they're trying to pick up the hammer. That's great. It's got Robert Downey Jr. just eating up scenery, going, "I built this robot and I don't care because I'm great." It's just amazing. I love it. 9.5.
Okay, I think it's a bit high. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Nah, it's 9.5, mate. 9.5.
It's 8.
It's a good movie.
Okay, it's an 8. Next film, Ant-Man. I love this film.
I enjoy it. It's fun little movie.
It's a heist film.
Heist. Yeah. It's got some great characters in it.
I love heist films, and I love what's his name?
What, the dude who talks really fast?
Yeah. Don't remember his name. I love that guy. He's so good.
Yes, he is.
I love the the kind of rambles he has.
Luis.
Oh, Luis.
Luis is the character's name.
I love the rambles he
played
has.
by Michael Pena.
Yeah. I love the rambles he has during the when he starts introduction of a heist. Like, oh yeah, so I spoke to this guy who's. Blah, blah, blah. I love that moment. That's great.
Yeah.
I love the tank bit as well. I think the villain's a bit forgettable. Probably one of the worst villains. Not got any story to him. Just a bit of a
man who
nutcase.
shrinks sheep into goop.
Yeah, but there's no
You don't
story
like
to him.
man
He's
who
just a
shrinks-
guy. Is that all right?
No, he's the ex-apprentice of Hank Pym.
Uh,
And then he turns sheep into goop.
I'm a bit disappointed that the Hydra thing never went anywhere.
I'm sure they'll maybe do it. They'll make a TV show.
Even if it was referencing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something, that would have been great, but it wasn't.
Also, in going back to Age of Ultron, the beginning bit. Oh no, wait, no, it's not in this one. Never mind. It's in Captain America: Civil War. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Okay, get to it.
I was misremembering. There is a moment in America. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I say it's quite a good. I enjoy it.
I am disappointed though because I would love to have seen what Edgar Wright did with this film because he was originally attached to it and he's the dude who made all the Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz,
Yeah.
World's End, Baby Driver. I really wanted to see what he was doing, but he had creative differences and he didn't want to make a movie that tied into the rest of it. He wanted to make a standalone thing, and I get it, but it would have been nice to see his version.
Edgar Wright.
Because that Luis shit is his contribution. Because a lot of the script they used, but they changed some of it. But you can tell the Edgar Wright stuff because he sort of filmed stuff, and then, but the Luis stuff, the comedy is pretty much Edgar Wright all over.
Yeah. It's probably
But yeah.
quite good comedy.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6.4. I think it's pretty good.
I
Not the
think
greatest.
6.4 is a bit harsh, you know.
It's one of the highest ones I've given.
I think I prefer it more than Iron Man 3, so I'm going to give it a 7.8.
Captain America: Civil War.
I'm not a great fan of this film.
I love this film.
Let me guess, because there's Iron Man in it.
No, surprisingly.
Oh.
I just like it. It's just a fun, solid movie. It's got one of the greatest villains, Baron Zemo. Just a man whose family died and he just wants to destroy the Avengers out of pure spite. And I know people are like, oh, but he's not a big bad guy who punches people. Who gives a shit? He's clever.
I think the reason why I'm not a great fan of this film is because I didn't go see it straight away, and everyone just kind of overhyped it for me. Because I
Yeah, that
didn't see it until like 9 months after, and at that point, everyone was like, "Oh, it's the greatest Marvel film of all time." And then I watched it, I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's a bad thing to do.
And I was like,
Hype
oh.
is bad.
I feel like if I went into that film with no expectations, I would have enjoyed it a hell of a lot more. And the
Yeah.
same thing happened with Deadpool as well. Everyone overhyped Deadpool for me.
Nah, Deadpool lives up to the hype. I mean, it's a good film. Deadpool 2 is better, though.
Yeah, but we're not ranking. We're ranking Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Uh,
Captain America: Civil War. Airport fight sequence that you...
Oh, but it probably is
Could
actually
have-
one of the best fight scenes. That's better than Hulkbuster.
Nah. Hulkbuster, then airport fight sequence.
Nah. What were you going to
Yeah.
say when something started up being in Civil War?
Oh, at the speaking of... Because you were saying about plot points that didn't go anywhere. At the beginning, they're trying to... the Crossbones guy is trying to get a biological weapon. And it's from that facility. And I thought that was Hulk's blood.
Right.
Because so that they could, because in the comic books, General Ross, who's in that movie, is the Red Hulk,
Yeah.
and I thought that there was going to be a twist where the blood is taken, because the blood doesn't get retrieved. I don't think
No.
it gets away because Scarlet Witch blows up a thing and what's not. So I don't know whether or not the blood gets destroyed, but the blood gets away, I think, or it gets back to Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. I can't remember that much. It's been a while since I've seen it. But if that blood gets put back into Hydra or back into S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, will we see that blood get used to make Red Hulk?
Maybe.
Because we haven't seen anything, and that was a big plot point at the beginning. But it's like, it's a biological weapon, but it looks like a vial of blood. So Hulk has had blood stored away. because that's how in Hulk. If you haven't watched Hulk, which you haven't, there is like replicated things of Hulk blood.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as much as this film is called Captain America, I really think it's more of an Avengers film.
Well, the central point is basically proving Captain America right, that they shouldn't have government interference.
Yeah, I mean, that was right, but Captain America's story wasn't really anything in here. There's more to the Winter Soldier story. That had a lot of story in there. Or Iron Man had a lot more story. But the actual story of surrounding Captain America was very little.
The entire plot revolves around Captain America trying to get Bucky to then get him to Sokovia to then fight Baron Zemo in a home, and then Iron Man.
It's not about the actual character of Captain America. It's about
It's
his
proving
actions.
that he's right.
It's more about the actual characters of Winter Soldier and Iron Man.
Yeah, but it's also Captain America's steadfastness. And how he refuses to bow down or move as a tree would in a river or whatever the fucking metaphor that lady gives.
Anyway, I'm not the biggest fan of this film. I
love the fight battle at the end where it's Captain America versus Iron Man and Bucky Barnes jumps in and gets his arm blown off. And then it's emotional stakes and Iron Man gets crushed.
Yeah, wow.
I'm going to give it an 8.9.
I think I'm going to give it a 7.6. I think I genuinely prefer Ant-Man over it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
I'm pretty sure I'd rather watch Ant-Man, yeah. Doctor Strange.
Pretty good.
The
Wasn't
Iron Man
expecting.
ripoff.
Yeah, douchebag who learns a lesson via injury and having something crippled in him.
Do you know this saying, like saying, all Marvel films are the same? Iron Man and Doctor Strange is probably the only time I agree with that.
No, every origin story is the same. It's someone who's downtrodden, gets powers, and then gets uplifted. It's Captain Marvel, it's Doctor Strange, it's Captain America, it's Hulk.
Captain Marvel wasn't. Captain Marvel was different.
Yeah, no. Just because she's a woman doesn't make it different.
No, it was completely different.
No, it wasn't.
Lost her memory and everything.
That's the
She
crippling event.
only became Captain Marvel after she realised everything the Kree did to her.
Iron Man only became Iron Man at the end, because that's the first time he kills himself Iron Man. Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, I mean, I'm just going to say they're different stories, but whatever.
No, every origin story is the same. It's a hero uprising from their depressedness.
I love the visual
Doctor
effects in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, very good.
I think this film has got the best visual effects out of any other one.
Also, this dude who directed Doctor Strange is now going on to direct the next Spider-Man movie. I think.
Is he? Which one doesn't?
Yeah.
What's John Watts left?
Yeah. I can't remember if... No, wait, John. I think maybe. I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure that guy just not doing anything anymore.
Oh, no, wait, no, yeah, no, wrong. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm stupid. That dude's not back, and the next Doctor Strange is being directed by Tim Burton. Nah, it's fine. I'm stupid. John Watts is doing Fantastic Four. There we go.
Next Doctor Strange is doing Sam Raimi.
So, yeah, that's the one, Tim Burton. I don't know. They're all the same. They're all the same. They're just getting Sam Raimi back because he did the first Spider-Mans.
He should be good
the
at
1, 2, and 3. Well, it's going to be yeah, I don't know why he's doing Doctor Strange when he could be doing Spider-Man.
Because Spider-Man director's doing Spider-Man.
Yeah, but the Spider-Man director's also doing Fantastic Four, so Sam Raimi could be doing Spider-Man. And then because it's going to be Spider-Verse, and then you could
Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Bald lady. She's great.
Tilda Swinton.
I know. I just like calling her bald lady.
The ancient one. I do actually like a lot of this film. The only thing I'm annoyed about is that it is a direct rip-off of Iron Man. More so than any of the other ones.
It's fun. It's got a twist on the ending. It's enjoyable.
I do like the time loop thing. I think that's quite quite an inventive way. I like a lot of the story in this film, to be honest.
Yeah, cape's great.
And because in my head...
Cloak. I didn't mean cape. I mean cloak, because it's the cloak of levitation.
And in my head, because it's exactly the same as Iron Man, I'm going to give it the exact same score of a 7.
I will not be doing that. I will give it also a 7. Because, yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I know you don't like it.
I didn't like it a lot at the start, and I like it more, but not so much that I love it.
I liked it more-ish than the first one. I don't know. I think maybe because I kind of bummed out on the first one. I like a lot of the stuff, and I have problems with Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but I think I overall enjoyed it more than the first one. But not by much. Probably like by 1% or like a percentage. Like 0.001%.
I think for me, the whole middle bit of the film, when Quill was going around with his father, I found that quite a bit boring. I know a lot of people quite liked it, but I just found it really boring.
It depends on whether or not you have a good relationship with your father, whether or not you like the movie. You have a perfectly good relationship with your father, so you don't like it because you can't relate. People with a bad relationship to their father relate.
Yeah. No,
I am the
I suppose that's what it
exception.
comes down to. I'm not a great fan of what they did with Rocket this episode. Or this film.
Yeah, but you missed the point. They're making him a douchebag so that they can then go, well, look at me, I'm also a douchebag. You are me. I scared everyone away by being a douchebag because I'm scared of being alone and I don't want to do that. And then at the end, they redeem him.
Yeah, but did they need to add that plotline back in? It wasn't really there in the first film.
It was. He was a douchebag in the first film.
Yeah, but
He was just-
not as bad as in the second one.
Yeah, but Dan, you're missing the point. He's getting attached, so he's pushing them away.
Yeah,
That's
but I
the
just
point.
felt like it was unnecessary. I felt like they didn't need to do that, and I would have much preferred it if they did a lot of other things in that film.
Nah, it's attachable.
I think I still prefer Doctor Strange over it, if I'm honest.
I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up giving it less than the first one, just because I think Even though I
I'm going to
enjoy
give
it.
it a 6.7.
I'm gonna give it 7.5. I think 7.5 works.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Love it.
Oh, me again. I wasn't. This whole period of Marvel films, I didn't enjoy a lot.
I loved it. It was a great coming of age story.
Between Captain America and probably even Thor Ragnarok at the time, I didn't enjoy Marvel films, apart from Doctor Strange.
You are the weirdest person because those are like the golden age of Marvel movies.
Those are the ones I didn't like the most first time I watched it. I like Thor Ragnarok, we'll get on to that later, but Homecoming,
I loved it.
I'm not a great fan of it.
It's a great Spider-Man movie.
really
I know people
not.
have problems with it because it's Iron Man, and it's like, oh, Spider-Man shouldn't be in the apprentice to Iron Man, and he shouldn't get the suit from Iron Man. He should build it on his own. And
I don't care
He
about
needs
any
to-
of that. I just wasn't a great fan of the story.
yeah, I loved it. Vulture gets there, gets the house. It's Vulture. Ah, scary.
I mean, I like a lot of good. It has got a lot of good moments in it, but I just wasn't a great fan of it. I find it a bit lackluster at times. I just think not so much as bad, but I just prefer a lot more of the other Marvel films to it.
No, I really enjoyed this one. This one was a lot of fun when I went and saw it. I enjoyed Spider-Man's appearance in Captain America: Civil War, and I was like, "Ooh, this is a good choice for Spider-Man." I love Tom Holland, and I mean, he's just having a great time with it. And there's a lot of fun moments. I like Vulture. I like Ned. I'm not as fussed about the whole MJ situation as a lot of people. I don't give a shit if it's a lady who's black.
No,
And
neither do
her
I.
name's
What does it
Michelle.
matter?
Like, who cares? It's not Mary Jane, it's Michelle Jones, I think.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh, well, that's just the clever way of, then you can also, if she dies, you can also potentially add the blonde white girl. Not blonde.
I was going to say
Ginger
blonde
white girl.
Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, well, they're all interchangeable. They're just Spider-Man love interests. The only one that's not is, like, Gwen Stacy, because she becomes Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it's all right. I love it. I'm going to give it an 8.5. Actually, no, 8.7.
I'm not giving it that high. I'm trying to think. I think I prefer it more than Doctor Strange. So I prefer it more than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But I don't actually prefer it more than Doctor Strange. I'm going to give it a 6.9.
Really? Huh. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thor
fascinating
Ragnarok.
person. Love it.
I love it a lot more now than the first time I watched it.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know. Like that phase.
You just hate fun.
I think it's because everyone was just overhyping every single film that came out in that period. Apart
they
from
were all
Doctor
good.
Strange.
They're all like swinging it out of the park, knocking it out of the park, swinging, knocking.
Yeah,
4 hits a hammer, breaks his hammer. Sexy girlfriend, not girlfriend, sexy sister.
I like Thor for the comedy, but I'm not a great fan of the story.
What, you don't like Garbage Planet?
That's the comedy. I like the comedy, but I'm not a great fan of the story.
You don't like Sister comes back and is evil and...
I think there's not a lot to it. There's like 5 minutes of actual story to it.
Yeah, well, you don't need a story if you can make it entertaining.
Yeah, that's my point. I like a good story to it.
There is a good story to it. It's evil sister, breaks hammer, banishes, then, gets stuck on a planet with the Hulk, beats up the Hulk. That's a good fight sequence. There's another one, Dan. I know you were struggling. And then, battle of the brother and sister and Loki's goodish. Gets sort of redeemed.
Yeah.
That doesn't last long.
Like I was saying, I like the comedy, but I'm not a fan of the story in this one. So I think
I'm going to give it the same as maybe just slightly less than Homecoming, like a 8.6.
I think I'm going to give it a 7.6 as well. As Civil War.
Black Panther. Now, we can't say anything bad about this. Because we're called racist.
It's a perfectly good film.
I like it. I really do like it. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I
do like the story.
I understand the cultural impact of this movie. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. You were great. I loved your performance. I loved you in Civil War as well. It's a shame you died. I'm gonna kind of slag on your movie a bit. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. I do like it's above average. It's a big old B+.
I think the biggest problem
not
for me
an
is
A.
just the NCGI.
Yeah. It stumbles. It's got great villain.
Yeah.
And you kind of like the villain. But yeah, it's kind of generic, but it's also it's trend setting. I'll give it a lot of credit, but I'm going to give it a 7.5.
I actually think it is a bit
I don't
better
love
than
it.
a lot of the other films. I think I'm going to give it an 8.
It's high up there. It is not the number one, which a lot of people seem to think it is.
It's not number one. No. There's many better.
If it's your number one, credit to you. It's fine.
Infinity War.
Ooh, good.
I also did not love this film first time I saw it.
I don't understand you.
It was going through the period of time. It's like, oh,
God damn. But do you like it now?
I like it a lot more now because I think there's a lot of Easter eggs or little slight things that I missed the first time I watched it. Because I actually watched it. That's the only Marvel film I've seen twice in the cinema.
Oh, I watched it 4 times.
Fair enough.
Endgame was 6 times.
Yeah, I think there was a few things I just didn't realize in the film. I think after watching it the first time, leave it my second time experience, which is quite good for most Marvel films. I would say, a lot of the first ones, like the second time you watch it or the second, third, it gets progressively worse.
Considering it had to do everything, and it managed to do pretty much a lot of it.
Yeah, I give it a lot of respect, but I don't think it could have been better, really, because of the amount of characters they had in it.
Yeah. It's a great introduction. It does a lot of heavy lifting and balancing. I think I tend to, when it's coming down to these sorts of things, because it's technically a part 1 of a part 2, I'm going to combine my score together between the two. So whatever I give Infinity War, I'm going to give to Endgame. And in order to do that, I'm going to give it a 9.
So I think these as 2 separate films, really. I think they are different enough to have 2 different films.
Oh, I agree, but I combine them because it's just how I watch it. I watch them back to back as one film. A 5-hour period of my life, 5.5-hour period of my life, where I just watched 2 films back to back.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give it a 9 as well, but I'm gonna change my Civil War to a 10. Not Civil War, my Winter Soldier to a 10. No, mind I'm not. I'm gonna change it to 9.9.
What are you doing?
Nothing. This thing's fine. Absolutely fine. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I love this film. It's not that great, but I love the film.
It's all right. I liked it. You can't remember much about it.
Never can I. When I was scrolling through, wondering what movie to watch, I was like, do you know what? I kind of watch this one again. Mainly because I can't remember it.
It's probably one of the ones I've watched the least again.
Yeah, I think it is, but at the same time, I really enjoy it. Every time I watch it, I have a good experience.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's bad.
I like a lot of the shrinking jokes.
Yeah, where he gets stuck between phases and he's a small child. That's funny.
That's a great one. Also,
I like the mints joke, where he's like, "Can I have a mint?" And he's like, "No," and it's like, "Why not?" Because you can't. And then he just has a bunch of ants in there that get big.
I also like the car, the suitcase in the car. Where you can pick up the cars and then
that felt a bit silly to me, but
it's great. It's stupid, but brilliant. But that's what I like about Ant-Man. They just do stupid stuff and be like, yeah, right, whatever.
Yeah, it is fun. I'll give it credit. It's fun. I'm gonna give it 6.5.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good film. I'm just saying I enjoy the film.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I also enjoy it. I think it's a solid plus.
I'm gonna give it probably a 7.1.
Now, Dan, next one. You can't say a bad thing about it, otherwise you're sexist.
I actually like
Captain Marvel. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot when I watched it. Not great. It's another origin story.
Weirdly enough, I think I actually liked it more first time than watching Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
For the first time, but you know,
it's all right. It's a lot of people hate it because they went around saying that she's the strongest Avenger, and yeah, she is. But you don't need to say that because people are going to get very angry at you for saying that.
I think most people hate it.
Men.
Not for the fact what happens in the film, but what happened outside of the film.
Yeah.
Which
Brie Larson not doing anything wrong and people taking everything she says as like admiration that she's right.
Yeah, I think it's it's a bit unfair for us to judge the film based on what happened outside of the film.
I won't. I just think it's funny.
I actually think it was actually quite a decent film, really.
Yeah, it's on the same level as Doctor Strange. Like, it's a pretty good, solid film. Not bad, not great. Sits pretty well there. Has decent de-aging, even though Samuel L. Jackson is still a 70-plus-year-old man and still runs like a 70-plus-year-old man, and you can tell that he's a 70-plus-year-old man in any of the action sequences he's in, even though he's de-aged and looks like a 30 to 40-year-old man. You know? I'm going to give it the same as Doctor Strange. I'm going to give it a 7.
7? Ooh,
it's pretty decent.
I'm going to give it a 7.1. Give it.
Same as Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, 7.1. Fair enough.
You already know my score for Endgame. It's a 9.
I'm going to give it a 9.5, I think. I have never had a better experience watching a film first time than this film.
I'm gonna break convention. I'm going to break my own rule.
What's that?
7.5. Because it is the only movie that made me cry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Only one of these movies that's made me cry in a cinema full of hundreds of people. And it's, I think, the second movie I went and saw at midnight. No, third movie I've seen at midnight.
Yeah, in Endgame, I
Twice.
predicted nearly everything that was going to happen, but I still loved it. I just loved the reveals of everything. I loved the portal scenes. I knew it was going to happen, but I loved it.
The cheeseburger line emotionally destroyed me. It hurt. It hurt so much to watch that film, knowing that this is he's probably gonna die. Infinity War got me close when Thanos stabs him in the chest, and you're like, "Fuck, are they just gonna kill him?" And I'm like, and then Doctor Strange goes spare his life, and you're like, "Oh shit, oh shit," and then in Endgame you're like, "Oh no, he's gonna die. He's gonna die."
Yeah.
And when he looks at the camera, and you're like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna sacrifice himself to stop it." No, you fool.
I think Endgame's got a really good story. It's got a lot of Easter eggs behind it. It's got a lot
Also,
of
fun
weight
fact,
to it.
The reason I started this podcast was because of Endgame. And I just wanted to dump all my thoughts on it. That
They
is
had to do 3 episodes.
I had to build up a channel before, because otherwise it wouldn't have been out on time. You know? But yeah, this is the reason why I started a channel. Because I wanted to just gush over this movie.
The final film is Spider-Man Far From Home.
From Age of Ultron, I'd watched every one of these in cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on holiday at the launch of Spider-Man Far From Home, and I couldn't watch it on day of release.
And you're like, damn it.
Yeah, and so I had to spend 2 weeks on holiday miserable because I couldn't get back and watch it, and all the spoilers were coming out immediately because no one gives a shit.
I loved Mysterio character. I've wanted it. I've seen him before, and I've seen what he does, and I was like, I want this in the film. And then we got it, and I was like, brilliant.
Also, Jake Gyllenhaal is just charismatic as fuck.
Yeah, I really like this film, and I love the callback to Bath technology.
Yeah. Because it was hinted at in Civil War that it would be brought back, and people thought it was going to be brought back in Endgame, because the Russo brothers were talking about it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's going to get brought back at some stage," and then they were like, "Oh, it's just brought back in Far From Home."
Yeah,
I like the callback that they bring back the dude that gets shouted back at by Obadiah Stane in Iron Man 1.
Yeah,
when he's like, "Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps," and it's that little bald guy that he's shouting at, and he's like, "Well, I'm not Tony Stark," and then it's like, we brought him back because everyone hates Tony Stark.
Yeah, I think it's another great film.
I think the drones are kind of stupid, but I love the fact that there's just a whole army of drones that Tony Stark entrusts to a 16-year-old or however old he is meant to be in those films.
Once again, I love this more than the first one. Like, quite a margin. I actually
I
really
still
enjoy
prefer
this film.
I still prefer the first one, but I really do enjoy this one. I'm going to give it an 8.5.
I'm gonna give it a.
I give nothing an 8.5. I missed the box. 8.5.
I'm gonna give it a 7. Yeah, 7.5 things fair.
And ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end. Well, let's have a look. Starting at the bottom. Dan, do you want to count us down?
Yeah, no
count us up.
problem. So the last one is Thor: The Dark World.
Who would have guessed?
At 4.55. Iron Man 2 is at... Oh, no, sorry. 22 is Hulk at 5 points. 21 is Iron Man 2 at 5.25. You disagree?
Should be higher.
Yeah, maybe, but nah.
Whatever, this is definitive rankings. I'll cave.
20th is Thor at 5.3. And 19 is Captain America at 5.65.
Yep.
18 is Ant-Man and the Wasp at 6.8.
Mm-hmm.
17, Doctor Strange at 7.
Yep.
16,
solid.
Captain Marvel at 7.05.
Ah, cool.
Number 15 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at
Yep.
7.075. I had to change some things just to make, so we don't have any same value. Ant-Man is at 7.1. Avengers is at 7.6 and 13th. 12th is Black Panther at 7.75.
And then Spider-Man Homecoming is 7.8.
11th place.
Yep. Captain America Winter Soldier is 7.95.
Oh, it should be higher.
No, it shouldn't. 10 is a good position. It's in the top 10, Dan. Be happy. Spider-Man Far From Home, 7.975. Then Iron Man 3 at 8. Thor Ragnarok at 8.1. Guardians of the Galaxy at 8.15. Captain America Winter Civil War 8.25. Iron Man 8.5 should be higher. Age of Ultron 8.75. I agree. Infinity War 9. Agree. Endgame 9.5. Agree. But Iron Man should be at number 1 at 10.
No, it shouldn't.
It should.
No one says your opinion.
I would agree with the top 5 if it was Iron Man at number 10. At number 1 with 10.
Anyway, that's the definitive rankings. Endgame is number 1.
Yeah. I
kind of expected it to be around that, to be honest.
No, Iron Man should be at the top. Everything else I'd agree with. And maybe Spider-Man slightly further up, but
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, if you disagree, keep it to yourself. Uh, we don't care. No, we do. Post yours in the comments. I'd love to see what other people think, because it's always fun to watch people lose their mind over this shit. Like, we're just doing this for fun. Because it's our 10th episode of this separated, I hope. I may have miscounted, but you never know. Correct me. But yeah, top 10. Captain America, Winter Soldier, Spider-Man Far From Home, Iron Man, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America Civil War, Iron Man, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame. And yeah, maybe Black Widow will creep up to number 1. Who knows? Maybe we'll do TV shows if Dan ever watches any of the Netflix shit. And I watch some of the Disney shit. You know, we might come back to this. We might do a DC version of movies. You never know.
Don't get hopes
We're not going to be so positive. They're probably going to be sitting around the Thor Ragnarok for the Dark World. No, Wonder Woman's a pretty solid 7.
Yeah, maybe.
Spoilers. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do a ranking of DC when Justice League Rebirth or whatever they're gonna call it comes out of the reboot of the same movie that came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago at this point. I don't know. You know. Well, do what the guy at the end says. Bye.
Bye.